Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Mike at smartoptiontrade.com. It is Sunday, the 1st of March. Happy March, everybody. This is my week ahead video for members. I'm putting out for free. I was going to do charts and I'm just going through the news. I'm saying too much here to talk about. So let's do a video where you guys can listen, get my thoughts. It's going to be a little longer and get an understanding what's going on. So if you got your head in a hole, and you haven't been paying attention to that this weekend, Trump has decided and on Friday night attacked Iran. We have killed and basically assassinated the supreme leader of Iran, taking him out. Iran has retaliated. There's reports of 3 American deaths this morning. Uh, Trump saying this will go on for at least a week. Israel is also joined in on the attack. It just seems a continuation of the action we had earlier last year. Effectively, right now, the Straits of Hormuz are closed. What that means is, well, Iran has not said they've closed and they've attacked several ships, and pretty much all shipping has stopped trying to go through there to avoid casualties, which cuts off flow. We have OPEC Plus is scheduled to meet right away, right around now, where they may try to increase output. Saudi Arabia and I think there's only like the 2 countries that have any kind of meaningful capacity that they can increase by to try to keep oil from spiking too high. You can hear a lot of talk. You can hear a lot of talk about fears of a regional war, this and that. Right now, this is, while Iran has actually attacked, I think, 5 or 6 different countries. We saw damage to Dubai and some other places. They're really trying to hit U.S. bases interests in those areas, and they're just not that accurate, not like we are. Okay, so the people will be holding their breath, seeing how they respond. Remember, everybody held their breath with the back and forth with Israel, but really, at the end of the day, they couldn't do very much. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see if there how this plays out. We'll see what goes on. This will play out over the course of the next week. Trump may just, oh, let me decide to stop, said I've done enough, and see what they do. You just never know, right? You just never know how this will play out. But this will affect the markets in crude this week, and we'll come back to that in a second. From an economic perspective this week, we have PMI manufacturing on Monday morning with ISM manufacturing at 10. Tuesday is fairly quiet, and then on Wednesday you start getting jobs numbers. At jobs week, we have ADP employment costs. You got challenge job cuts on Thursday, right? And then on Friday morning, non-farm payroll and retail sales at 8:30. I'll open up the room early for that. Let's talk earnings this week. It is an interesting week of earnings. It's a mix of everything here. We have Norwegian Cruise Lines on Monday morning, Monday night, ASTS, BBAI, ACHR, QUBT. So you got to look some different names. Target and SE and ONON, along with Best Buy on Tuesday morning. Tuesday night, CrowdStrike would be very interesting after we've seen what Palantir and ZS and the AI fears. GitLab is in there. Wednesday morning doesn't interest me. Wednesday night, Abgo, Rigotti, Okada, Bull. JD.com over in China on Thursday morning. Thursday night is Costco and Marvel. All right. So as we sit here right now, let's get sentiment up and talk. Right now, pre-market future bets are Dow is down 368. Okay. It's up off where it was. It was down lower. This is not exactly a horrible area for it to be. So we're down a little bit. I will tell you this. In past times, when the bombs start flying, the low comes in quickly and we generally bounce up. Now, I'm going to warn you, there's a lot more here going on that's bothering the markets, right? We can talk about that. We have the whole tariff, complete no clue of what's happening, what has to be paid back, who's paying what, what's going on there. You have this going on now over there, and on top of that, you have these whole AI fears that keep coming into the market. Last week it was let's kill the cybersecurity names, let's kill IBM, let's kill the payment names because AI is taking over everything. This is something we'll have to keep an eye on. They continue to kill anything that AI comes out and says it's a problem. Trump has soured on Anthropic. He has blacklisted them. OpenAI has already run in and rushed in to sign the contract with the Department of Defense at this point. And this sounds really just not good, what's going on there with some of these things. We'll see how all this continues to play out at this point. All right, so right now, down. Let's talk sentiment. As we go into this week, market sentiment, we are currently plus 17 on the Nasdaq. We are on the positive side of, sorry, we are positive side of neutral on the Nasdaq. I'm sorry, the New York Stock Exchange is number 11, negative side of neutral. Your advanced decline lines, despite Friday's action, look at the strength of the SPY and the Dow. They held up very well. Your highs versus lows on the S&P 500 plus 145 versus negative 33 remains very strong. On your tech-heavy NASDAQ, 217 versus negative 157, still positive. So, as bad as Friday's action was, didn't fall apart. You look what's going on here. Overall, we're sitting here trading this morning. To put the call as neutral, it's not a great indicator anymore because of all the daily options and market breadth turned down on the NASDAQ, whereas the New York Stock Exchange is still up at all-time highs. Overall, the internals of the market remain strong. Let's start off with the ES and this talk something here. First of all, this 100-day moving average, this line. I want you to take note of how we've really been trying to hold it. Held it here, closed on it here, opened on it here, held it, held it, held it, dipped below but held it, dipped below but held it, dipped below but held it. As long as this continues to hold, this market remains in this chop zone, this channel. If they're going to break down, you really need to lose this 67.51 area on the ES. Okay. On the NQ, overall, kind of similar to sitting here. Crude's going to be up, right? Crude spiked on Friday. I got out of my crude contracts, took the profits on there. Crude's going to open up, and how that reacts will tell you a lot of how the market feels about what's going on in Iran. If crude continues to spike and tries to go up towards 80 in that area, then we're going to have problems. You're going to see inflation worries come in. You're going to see all sorts of things kick in, and then they'll be worried that Iran is going to go on for a while, and it's going to very much affect things. If crude spikes and then comes right back down and starts dropping, it's going to tell you the market doesn't really worry about it. Take your cues, right? What else is going on? Bitcoin this weekend is not doing a heck of a lot. It still needs to break that 70K area. Bonds were up on Friday, a flight to safety. Gold was up. Silver was up. Watch these. These were flight to safeties here going on. The VIX, when you're looking at the VIX, we haven't had that big spike here. While the VIX remains extremely elevated, that means option prices are higher, right? But VIX is elevated. We've been getting these big wide range candles now for the better part of a month. Didn't get that big spike. See what we opened. Did we open at the Bollinger Bands? What is going on is we've been hanging around this 20 area. VIX is usually lower than this, so we're getting an increased in volatility. HYG is trading with the markets. The transport's holding in strong is good. The overall dollar is not doing much. So let's take it to the SPY. What to watch this week? Okay, when we open here on tomorrow, right? Right now we're trading down quite a bit. See where we open. We're going to open up down about 1% or so. Do we open down here into this 676 area and 90? Do we hold? Right? Do we come down here 675.80? That is your big level to hold. You hold that. You got one top, this double bottom here we came off of. You hold that and says the market still wants to remain in this chop zone. If you break below that, then you watch for 675.21. Just put levels in your head. If we shoot up and they do a quick buyback, and we've seen this many times before, futures will be very red when you go to bed Sunday night. You wake up Monday morning, they're already well off the lows. They go green and they shoot back up. You have to clear these moving averages. And again, you have to get back above this 693.68 area and go up and test, right? Again, we're not that far off the highs. Here's 3%, 676.90. We've been sideways now for 5 months, 4 months plus, right? I'm sorry, 4 months. Not much going on here, so we'll see. And we're going to get a breakdown. If you do, there's going to be buying opportunity. So overall, we'll see how this plays out. Things are not great, though, overall, besides this. When you look at the financials, you see the weakness that has cropped back into the sector. Goldman Sachs got absolutely eviscerated on Friday. All right, big, nasty move down. American Express got beaten up hard. We talked about the payment space. Visa, MasterCard held in a little bit better after that down candle. Overall, the banks, here coming back down. If they continue to weaken, the market's going to have problems. Energy stocks, they're going to pop. If they pop on the open, don't chase. Give them at least 5, 10, 15 minutes, see what they do. ExxonMobil, the all-time high is 156.93. Chevron, the all-time high is 189.68. Levels to watch. Uh, Oxy has been much stronger lately off that great report, and we'll see where it wants to go. Overall, it is just starting to waking back up after a long, long slumber, and we'll see. Oops, I think there's one weekend here if it wants to push up into this 56.15 and the 200-day. All right, so some levels to watch there. These safety names, do they go into Coke? They did already. Pepsi, right? See how they respond. Clorox, right? I'm sorry, Colgate. See how they respond. If they keep pushing these higher and higher, that means they're worried. They want to stay out of it, right? Keep an eye on what they're doing. Walmart had earnings. It's back up off the lows here and has taken back most of the weakness that they sold off on earnings. We're going to get Costco and Target this week. These are often safety names they like to go into, Walmart and Costco specifically. Again, names to watch. Circle had an incredible report. incredible report last week, was up huge. I don't know if I'd chase it here. I'd let it chill out. Hood continues to be unloved. It has a little gap to fill, and then if it gets down, it could drop all the way back down to 69.22, way off the highs. They don't want it. Coin, again, also trying to hold better than crypto. It's kind of detached itself a little from Bitcoin. Held the 8 day. If that holds, there might be some strength. Watch for a break up to the high side there on that one. What else? Let's talk the SMHs here. Okay. The SMHs, you had this big down candle off NVIDIA and some follow through. Under the 21-day here. Last time we did this, we came to the 50-day, which is down here at 391.30 as a level to watch. Look at the names that have been strong. Taiwan Semi, nothing's changed here. If it gets back above the 8 day, this is a leader. Micron, SanDisk, these guys are in this consolidation mode. Western Digital, Seagate, right? These are good. If they dip, they might be buys. See if they hold the 50-day. We have AMAT and the companies that make it just down to the 8 day LRCX. Again, we'll keep an eye on these names as they're trying to hold in. These guys have been the leaders. If they come in, again, the market's going to have problems. The SMHs start to dump. We're going to have issues there. NVIDIA, I've been getting nothing but asked, what's wrong with NVIDIA? What's wrong with NVIDIA? There's nothing wrong with NVIDIA. It was a fabulous report. They don't want it. There's worry about the AI trade. And I guess there's just worries that this is, that they're just this is going to eventually this trade's going to fall off a cliff, and they don't want to be in Nvidia here for whatever reason. Watch the 200-day for a bounce, 175 area, very strong area there. If not, we're going to start looking down towards the 171 area. 170.31 is the recent couple months lows. Remember, keep in mind, Nvidia's been in the channel. Basically, other than this one breakout, Nvidia has been sideways now since July. So you can see better part 6, 7, 8 months now, just going sideways. It's not doing much. Just in this channel, nothing has really changed. If I get questions about AMD, they had to sell part of their company to get that deal with Meta, and they've sold that and pop off. We'll see if it holds. It looks weak. Intel continues to hold in well and holds that 50-day. You can stay long versus that. We didn't talk about XBI. Biotech and pharma is very strong usually in times like this because of their heavy dividends. Lilly, nice pushback if it gets above 50 bay and then 1,060. That could be some strength to move. BMY remains very strong at a 52-week high there. Merck, right? You get the idea. Gilead just off an all-time high, looking a little tired. Some of these names are great places. They like to go hide in there. They're places to watch. Pfizer with a nice move. Let's talk software. Continues to be death. Salesforce, that report wasn't great. They bought it back a little bit. We'll see if it holds. It needs to get back above 200. Then you have a gap at 205.56. If they want to come back for that. Overall, the software names have been shellacked. Palantir, 2 upgrades on Friday effectively, and it still couldn't push all that much. Trying to wake up a little bit. Needs to get above the 21-day there at 140.55. Outside of that, Oracle remains a hot mess, and earnings coming up in about a week. Hard to say I want to own it here, even at 140. You have this whole deal with the Ellison is buying Warner Brothers and financing that, and that there's a lot of people that believe that they just completely overpaid for that company. So we'll see how that plays out. And that brings us towards big cap tech. Let's start off with Netflix. Netflix has had this huge move. Again, last week, they started buying it here all last week, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, day 1, day 2, gap up, day 3, big gap up, day 4. The news there was that that Netflix would not submit a new bid. So Paramount gets them for $31 a share, something like $70 billion, whatever it is. Netflix walks away and they get $2.8 billion or something like that, which has already been paid to them on Warner Brothers, and they're going to reinitiate buybacks. Netflix looking better here. I wouldn't chase this 4 day move. I'd see what it does here, but if it wants to, watch this 98 area, and then, there's your 100-day moving average, and then we'll see. I'd like to buy it back on a dip, and I'd like to see it hold this gap and go sideways for a bit and see what we do. All right, let's go to the rest of them. Microsoft, overall, the gap down on Friday continues to look weak under the 8 day, couldn't retake it. Every time this name starts to look a little bit better, sells back off, has been weak since earnings, can't even sniff the 8 day. Amazon, by the way, they have an outage right now. Amazon continues to try to base down here and hold after that earnings number. Watch that gap at 212.85. That's where the real play is. The 21-day is there as well. If this cannot hold and we sell off, watch the lows at 196. Tesla continues to be out of play. I've talked extensively how I believe this year is a wasted year for Tesla. And what I mean by that is as they transition from they're in the process transitioning over to robotaxi, cyber taxi, robotics, right? I was talking solar, all this stuff. They're retooling their manufacturing. Their EV sales are going to drop. They know this because they're tooling up for Optimus. They're killing two lines. Their margins are going to come down. This is a known. So, if you're holding Tesla stock right now, you're holding because you believe in the future, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're trading it, this is not a name to really be swinging right now unless it gives you news or a reason to. You can get little trades on it here and there throughout the day, every day or every couple of days. But overall, it's not doing much. Watch the 200-day down here at 390.66 to see if it holds. Meta. Meta tried to wake up last week, looked really good, then gapped down, but came back strong into the close. I continue to keep an eye on this one. Really want to see it break above this 100-day that's descending here down at the 661 area. I still continue to like that report. Apple on Tuesday, Tuesday has their event. We think it's mostly going to be wearables, maybe a new cheap iPhone type stuff. It's a tertiary type event. It's not a big event for them, but they're doing that. They sold off going into this. It was a big ugly candle we got there on Friday. Watch down here, watch this 255 area for a hold. We'll see what it does. Cannot not go anywhere without talking about Google. Google continues to hold and looks very strong. Needs to really break above the 50-day up there at 320.35 area to get going, but overall holding strong, holding the 100-day, you could use that as support. So, bottom line as we go into this week, and I know I didn't cover a lot of names, I kept it very tight and simple here, and I did that on purpose, guys. In my point of view here, either we're back into the chop and we could sit in this chop again for another month. Uh, March, by the way, is typically a good month in the markets. The market could give us a big head fake tomorrow, which I'm very much watching for, and start off and just come back and roar right back up and decide that this Iran battle is this big whole nothing. Or maybe the market finally just says, I've had enough. There's just too much negativity. There's too much stuff going on. There's too much unknown, and it dumps finally and gives us a pullback or a correction that is very viable. And I believe no matter if we do that, it's a very viable. So for me, tomorrow's a day about trying to figure out what we want to do, see how we open in the morning, and then make adjustments and go from there. I'm tempted to watch mostly for some type of reversal in the overnight period tomorrow and a big push up. Catch you guys live in the morning. Hope you're all doing well and have a great Sunday. Sorry for the long video.